Awesome. So, how long did you live in India, and what made you study about this deep-rooted Indian philosophy and culture?
Well, I've been spending a lot of time in India for 30, 40 years. In fact, I spent about most of the last 6 months. Vamdev was one of the main rishis of Rig Veda, and his Aham Brahmasmi is connected to Vamadeva's mantra. Prajnanam Brahma is connected to Vamadeva's mantras. And Vamadeva is the northern Soma face of Lord Shiva.
Hello everyone, we are at Dr. Romesh Chapra's Wellness Post event in Silicon Valley, and we have none other than Padma Bhushan Dr. David Frawley. Thank you sir for making it to this wellness event, and welcome to Your India TV with me Jasleen Khanuja. How's the feel here?
Feel here is wonderful because Silicon Valley is the center of so much intellectual, technological energy. And yet now all this yoga, Ayurveda, healing energy is coming here too. Two together can make a great transformation for humanity.
Awesome. And we've been hearing a lot about the Hindutva that you try to propagate all around. What's one principle of Hinduism that has attracted you the most, that is very close to your heart?
Well, I would say the most important principle of the Hindu Dharma is the unity of nature, all of nature in consciousness with the human being as a single organic force and unfoldment of energy and awareness.
Awesome.
The Hindu Dharma recognizes a supreme divine, but that supreme divine is our own inner being and consciousness, not just simply a deity in some heavenly world somewhere, or governed over by commandments, certain processes in the world, but in fact our own inner essence of light and immortality. So sometimes we prefer the term divine. Divine also relates to Deva in the Hindu sense. Deva means that which is shining, full of light, knowledge, awareness. The Devas can be at various levels, but the ultimate Devata, the ultimate divine principle, is the universal divine, the Ishvara principle, that also dwells within us as our own self. So in the Hindu tradition, the divine is an inner reality to be contacted within, not simply an outer reality to be followed or believed in. And in that regard, the divine has many names and forms, and yet is ultimately the essence of awareness within us. So in Hindu thought, we always then go back to the Atma, or the inner self, which is also Purusha, the cosmic being in all of its formulations, and God as Brahma or Brahman, a transcendent being that encompasses everything, that includes all names and forms.
So Ayurveda has been deep-rooted in the Indian culture, and one of the basic things is about the moderation that it said, don't do anything in excess. Ati ka bhala na bolna, ati ki bhali na chup, ati ka bhala na barasna, ati ki bhali na dhup. For those of you who understand Hindi, so ati sarvatra varjed, excess of everything is always bad. What's your take on this?
Well, it's not just it's the question of excess, it's the question of harmony. Each thing in nature, each thing in the body, each thing in the mind has a particular place where it's healthy and harmonious. If you take it beyond that, then it becomes a problem. Too much space, too little space, too much earth, too little earth. There needs that proper balance of that integration of the forces of nature. If we have that, we have peace, harmony, and well-being. If one force dominates and controls the others, then there's conflict and division. So we need that vision both for health and also for harmony in society.
So sir, you have contradicting opinion about Aryan migration. So tell us a little more about it, and why is it so?
Well, this is a big issue. And essentially what we say is India has a continuity of civilization going back to the earliest period. It's rooted in the Sanskrit language. It's rooted in the mantra, the rishis, the yogis, and we should honor the continuity of that tradition. Western historians, not understanding all the diversity of India, tried to divide it up. But actually that's been going on since the earliest period, and we see throughout even India, even today, from Kanyakumari to Kailash in Tibet, same tradition, same culture, same pujas, same gurus, same practices.
The Saraswati was a great river from the ocean to the sea more than 5,000 years ago, which is how it is portrayed in the ancient texts like the Rig Veda. It dried up around 4,000 years ago, which is how we find it mentioned in the later Vedic literature, even in the Mahabharata. So clearly the Vedic people were on that river and knew about it through its different stages and had been in India then for more than 5,000 years. So the idea that they came to India in this so-called Aryan invasion or migration of 1500 BC is totally refuted by their knowledge of the river system as well as their knowledge of the ocean. And we also see that this great urban civilization of ancient India, Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, Indus Valley, as we have said, was really a Saraswati civilization. The main sites are found on the dried banks of the Saraswati. And there are now 5 sites larger than Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. And the largest of the sites, Rakhi Gari, is actually located in the Kurukshetra region or the Saraswati Drishadvati region of Vedic fame. So the Archaeological Survey of India has done tremendous work on these sites, and particularly the work of Professor B.B. Lal, the former director of the Archaeological Survey of India. He goes into great depth showing the unity of the Vedic culture with these archaeological sites of the Harappan and the pre-Harappan era. There are swastikas, there are people leaves, there is the Brahma bull, there are chakra symbols. There's a whole set of artifacts and practices that connects the Vedic with these ancient cultures.
Awesome. So how long did you live in India, and what made you study about this deep-rooted Indian philosophy and culture?
Well, I've been spending a lot of time in India for 30, 40 years. In fact, I spent about most of the last 6 months was there, but off and on. And I was originally interested in the text and the teachings through the gurus that came here, like Yogananda, or the ones that had influence here, like Aurobindo, Raman Maharshi, and also meeting the gurus and teachers there in Bharat itself. So experiencing that directly, I could understand. And then going back to the original Sanskrit text, I could understand that they meant something very different than what a lot of the academics said they did, not to go against academia.
Awesome. So how did your name, Vamdev Shastri, got into your life?
Well, Vamdev was one of the main rishis of Rig Veda, and his Aham Brahmasmi is connected to Vamadeva's mantra. Prajnanam Brahma is connected to Vamadeva's mantras, and Vamadeva is the northern Soma face of Lord Shiva. So because of my study of the Vedas, that name was given to me.
Awesome.
In the mid-70s, I was able to come in contact first by letter with the great Indian teacher Sri Ananda Moima, and I began some dialogue with her. And I got an inspiration to look into the deeper connection between Upanishads and Vedas. That was Aurobindo's contention, that it was there. Most of the other scholars and yogis did not explore it. So I went back to the original text myself, starting originally on my own, because there really wasn't anybody there to be of much help to me. And I was inspired to do a rather large work, I don't know how, 500 pages of correlations between Upanishads and Vedas. And I had no idea what to do with it or what it was worth. I was at that time living in a semi-hermitage in the forest of Northern California, and so this was a very private sadhana.
And then one of my friends told me that M.P. Pandit, whose works were well known to me, was visiting the area, and I should see him. I believe this was probably up to about 1979 at that particular point. So I went to see Pandit, and I was kind of looking like a hippie of that era at that point. And I brought my manuscript with me and showed it to him and had some general discussions, not knowing what he might say or how he might view the work. So he had very deep and penetrating eyes, and when he looked at things, you could see that he could perceive right to the essence. He went through a few pages rather quickly and looked back up to me and said, much to my surprise, he says, "I would like to publish this in India in our various ashram publications." And I was, of course, quite surprised because it had been very private work for me. And I said to him, "But I'm not a scholar. I'm not from this Western university background. I don't have the usual academic credentials in this field." He said, "Yes, I know." He says, "That is exactly why your work is valuable. You're not looking through the same old vision that these modern scholars have been doing for the last 100 years, and you have been able to pick up some of Aurobindo's inspiration, and I feel your work is authentic." Very interestingly, there was a continual stream of inspiration, and by the 1st of November, I had written more than 500 typewritten pages of translations and studies of hymns from Rig Veda, I call self-realization and the supermind in Rig Veda. And I sent him that in India, and that is what he began to translate, to publish for me. And he essentially opened the door. If it wasn't for his trust in me and his willingness to give me confidence and promote my work, I don't think I would have probably published anything. And I don't think would be in the position that I'm in today. Because naturally, if you do these things and show them to the ordinary people in America, they think you're crazy. And if you show them to the academic people, they also think you are crazy.
So would you like to share any memories with the viewers on your receiving Padma Bhushan from the government of India?
Well, first it was a big surprise. Also, I didn't know what all these awards were in India. And we actually found out in one of the newspapers that it had come out. So that was a great honor for me. And also to, be there at Rashtrapati Bhavan and also to meet, to know, actually I've known Modi ji even before then. And to be in contact with all these teachings and traditions. And the great people, L.K. Advani got the Padma Vibhushan, same year I was there. So it was a great honor to be with all these great personalities in these great institutions.
So today we heard about the Chinese medicine, there were talks about other wellness means, particularly meditation. One of the doctors even practiced deep breathing and similar exercises which are good for mental, physical and soul health, as they say. It's a combination of everything. Wellness is a total concept. So on this special occasion, what is your advice to your India TV viewers who are going to watch you worldwide?
First of all, it's necessary to sustain in India these traditions. They do need to be modernized and adapted, but also back to their yogic and higher consciousness roots. That is very important. And to understand that necessity of harmony, well-being, natural living, honoring Bhumi Devi, honoring the plants, the animals. That's the essence of the Hindu culture. And that whole view of integration of humanity, nature, and the greater universe is what we need.
Thank you so much, sir, for all your time and for the beautiful talks about wellness and your personal experience. And we wish you all the very best and hope you had a great time learning from the scholar, Dr. David Frawley himself. Thank you so much, sir.
Watch me on Yo India TV, where we discuss this wonderful wellness conclave and exposition in Santa Clara, California, the heart of Silicon Valley, which is also becoming one of the main centers of yoga and Ayurveda in the United States.
The fact is we live in an important or very dangerous healthcare crisis globally. Some of it's by the technology, some of it's by the food, the environment. We see so many ways we're moving away from nature. To bring all these natural healing systems together is key and essential for the well-being of all humanity. We also tend to look at medicine too much in terms of drugs, specific diseases, and critical care, and treatments that are very specific. There is the broader field of natural living, dharmic living, behavioral medicine, a life of yoga and meditation, and a way forward to bring us to a universal understanding, embracing the forces of nature, and also bringing together all that is good in healing, not simply in medicines, but in attitudes, behavior, ideas, insight, and motivation. So we have already lit this flame. We can imagine it as a giant Agni, or greater universal flame. We need to create that deeper understanding that wellness and happiness, Ananda, is our true nature. In the physical world, of course, we have duality, birth, death, joy, and sorrow. But we also have the ability to unite, work together, and transcend. So if we can bring these healing traditions here at this very crucial place in the United States and the world today, each one of us has a divine flame, a universal connection that we can share with everyone in one way or another. There's teaching, there's counseling, there's art, there's education, so many ways. So I'm very happy to see this type of gathering occurring, and let us have it grow and expand and bring to another generation. Unless we bring this power of natural and spiritual healing to the next generation, the technology and the media will overwhelm us. We have to remember that the highest healing power dwells within us. Medicines are adjuncts, they are not the only thing. And if we live in harmony with the outer nature and our inner nature, we can reduce the cost of medicine, increase our well-being, not just at physical levels, but also at the psychological level, which, as we know, is the real issue today. So let us carry this light forward, and let us keep this essential knowledge alive, integrated, sharing for this entire century to come. Thank you.